How's it going? Uh, so really, it's kind of what we talked about last night. You know, we just weren't good enough third down, really on either side of the ball, and we kind of dug ourselves in a hole early in that game that we couldn't quite get out of. Um, you know, so we had some miscommunication, some MAs that really cost us at the worst times. A couple of penalties that bit us, and it wasn't clean. It wasn't clean. We didn't play well. So, but as I mentioned, it's all stuff we can clean up. We gotta score 7 when we get in the red zone. That's going to be big for us. We got to be able to run the ball. We had a lot of things where just fundamentally, man, we were off. We got to get our fundamentals back. We got to go back to work. Because it really is that simple. Nothing's easy about it, but it's that simple to diagnose. And so the only way you do it, you just got to go back to work, and work those things. Defensively, I thought we settled down in the second half. We gave us some explosives early. And there again, a couple of those are communication errors, things that we had worked all week. So, we got to get back to the basics there. Special teams, we got to be better. Wasn't good enough. We had 2 or 3 players played really well, but not enough. So that was really the story. We just didn't have enough good performances, and really we didn't coach well enough, and that obviously starts with me. We had a lot of MAs, and so that tells me that we had too much on their plate, which is that's my fault. So, but that was really the story. Questions? Well, youth will play a part in it. We had some young guys that that struggled yesterday. And you don't think it'll be. I certainly didn't go in and think it would be the best performance they would have all year, but it wasn't. It wasn't good enough. The good news is there's nowhere to go but up, and up we will go, and they'll only get better with banked reps. Yeah, I would tell you that. First of all, I thought he did good, and yeah, there are a couple of things that he wants back. Yeah, certainly, but we got to be able to. We got to master bread and butter before you get to all the other stuff. Because otherwise you can't. The other stuff won't matter if we can't find a way to run the football more than 2.1 per carry. That's where everything starts for us. If we can't, then you're out of play action, you're out of everything. Guys pin their ears back, and it makes it harder on, some of those guys up front. So that's where it all begins, really.
What's the balance? They obviously were hoping to take your deep shots away.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to take what the defense gives you to some degree, but what's the balance of still taking your shot? You're not going to take that away.
Well, yeah, good question. And I would say and I mentioned this last night, man, we preach to golf, man. If it's not there, check it down. Check it down. And even if you're wanting to take one of those, because we had them called. We had a couple of times now where these things are dialed up. You got to have time to get it out there. And I thought he did a good job of knowing, I've got to get rid of this now and taking what was there. And so, look, it becomes a boring game, and you do have to be patient. But when you do that, you can't miss on third downs. You can't turn the ball over. Defense has got to get you some stops and has to get some takeaways. Special teams has to do their job. We got to be able to play field position, and we didn't do really any of those at the end of the day. I don't know if common theme is the right word. We just a couple of times, it's like one guy doesn't hear the kill or the check, but everybody else gets it. So really, there's no excuse for that. I think what it starts there, but then we say, okay, man, we got to make sure that we are as loud as possible passing it down, and everybody's got to get it. You know, we got to make sure everybody gets it, so everybody's screaming at the top of your lungs. That's how you help that. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't feel like this is serious. You know, now it doesn't mean that I can't say for certain he'll be ready to go, but I don't think it's a serious injury.
Dan, when you look at the film and watch the offense, do you feel like the route concepts from the receivers was a little too simplistic? Many people felt like it was just a lot of vertical routes.
Really?
Did you feel that way?
Well, no. I didn't feel simplistic. I think a lot of what we wanted to do was vertical, and that was kind of the whole point. Vertical routes, you get a chance to take a shot, and if not, you dump it down to your back. And so we really did what we wanted to do. We just weren't able to score touchdowns in the red zone.
It was a real narrow game plan for Tesla. The catch he makes late in the game,
Mm-hmm.
kind of continuous, just what we've seen all offseason. When do you start thinking about maybe making more of the pie of that number 3 receiver role?
Yeah, well, I think we really wanted to try to get him involved last week, but then he got sick and he missed a lot of practice, so then we didn't feel comfortable, trying to load him up with stuff. And so it was going to be very limited, but certainly we'd like to use him more, I mean, there's something there. So looks like he's back and feels pretty good, and it was good to see him make a play. I mean, he was only in 3 plays on offense, but he did a good job on those 3, made that big catch. So, we're going to start trying to get him some reps.
You talk so much with us about continuity within the roster. How quickly do you think you can get that bread and butter matched in so that this offense can really start clicking?
Well, I don't know, to be honest with you, because, I think things take time, and you don't know, is that going to come in a day? Is it going to come in 2 days, a week, 1 game, 2 games? All I know is it'll come, and it just takes a minute to, real bullets, full speed, real opponents, working together, and then you find your groove, you find your rhythm. So all I'm concerned about, honestly, is I just want to get better from last week. I want to get significantly better from last week. I want to cut our enemies in half. I want to be much more efficient and productive, and find a way to get some takeaways, protect the football, and then we'll go from there and get better the next week. That's really what I'm looking for.
Speaking of getting better, you will start this week with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think would have a technical advantage here between you and Ben as far as he knows the organization really well, the game really well? Who would have that advantage?
I think we're on even playing ground, really. I mean, I think it's the same thing. He knows what we're about. We know what he's about, and and because of that, you're going to play that game a little bit. But the game doesn't matter if you don't master the basics inside the game, and so that's what we have to get back to. We got to worry about ourselves right now and just hone in on the little things.
Just as a little bit of a follow-up to that, is just with Ben, as far as I'm sure you generally would root for your former coaches, but in this case, rooting for him, he's recruiting for an opponent, a division opponent. Is it harder to kind of root for his success in that way?
No, listen, Ben's my friend. He's always going to be my friend, But that nothing about that's going to change, We're going in getting ready to play Chicago. We're going to win this game. We have to. We got to find a way to clean things up and do what we got to do. And they're going to try to do the same thing. It's like every week. So.
In previous years, you talked about needing to find your identity and making changes every year as the pieces change.
Mm-hmm.
The offensive line, is it a little bit more cloudy, unclear what your identity is, or are you still kind of aiming for the same core principles that have always kind of defined what you look for in an offense?
Yeah, well, I know I've said this before. You kind of leaned into that. Is you really don't know what you are until week 5. Week 4, week 5, maybe week 6, somewhere in there, as to what you really can hang your hat on. Now, as far as our core principles and what I believe in, no, we'll continue to drive that home and get better in that area, or we'll do what we have to do to tweak a few things.
When you look at the pass rush, what have you
Well, look, they did a good job. They short set. You know, he does a good job of bouncing in there. He's got pocket mobility. The backs were you know, stepping up pretty good. Jacobs did a really good job of shutting down some of the twist game, the stunts, the picks, all those that we'll do some of. And then inevitably, you know, when we got out of that a little bit, you know, we've got some guys that have to win a one-on-one. You know, they got to step up and make their plays when they're there. And we'll just, like I say, we'll keep repping it. We'll keep working it. We'll keep tweaking with guys too, and trying to find guys that we can put in a one-on-one and let them have a chance to win. Well, I mean, all in all, you know, we got hit on a few plays, but you know, there again, it's, you know, we got 5 explosives, which is too much, you know, but those happened in the first half, minus the run in the second where they broke out there on the sideline. And so once we calmed down and got things straight on the back end, we were pretty good. It bought us just enough time to at least pressure, and we got some hits in the second half. So there again, it's man, it's just working through some of this stuff. You know, it really is, and I know it's frustrating. And look, nobody likes to lose. Nobody hates it worse than our players and the coaches. So. But it's all about getting better, and we will. We're going to get better and keep working through this. Okay.